Hey guys, welcome back to Gleeboot. I'm Cullen.
Alyssa.
And I'm Hannah.
Gleeboot. We're here to talk about episodes 11 and 12 of season 1 of Glee, Hairography and Jump. Welcome back to the podcast. I've been having a lot of Ryan Murphy in my life lately because I started watching his new show, The Politician.
He has too many shows always.
Although why you started watching it, I don't know.
I'm like, I can't have a Glee podcast where we talk about how much we hate Ryan Murphy and not watch his latest.
No, honestly, though, I was watching the trailers for that, and I thought to myself, if this was before I knew it was Ryan Murphy's show, that looks like Glee.
And then you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
So I thought from the trailers it was going to be about college kids, but they're in high school.
Same.
All of us
Alyssa and I
thought
were
it was going to be
just
college kids.
I mean, like none of those kids, none of those people, they're not kids, they don't look like they're even near 18. They look at almost 30. All of them are like almost 30.
Yeah, how old is Ben Platt?
Ben Platt's probably almost 30, if not already. And what's her name who plays Zoe Deutsch? She's probably our age, so she's like mid-20s.
Was she also in Dear Evan Hansen?
I have no idea.
Someone who is in Dear Evan Hansen is a character on The Politician and was also in season 6 of Glee.
Also, I think because it's like the 10-year anniversary of it first airing, I've been seeing it all over BuzzFeed of like these lists. So like every Monday morning, it's just an onslaught from me to Cullen and Alyssa of just like listicles of Glee moments, most of which I haven't seen yet. Like the one I think I sent you guys last week, I was like, I haven't seen half of these, but just strap in, get ready.
Yeah, I saw one about how Glee and Riverdale are basically the same show. It's great. Yeah, The Politician, it was good, but I'm like, it's a Ryan Murphy show, so you just count the ways this is gonna go off the rails.
Yeah,
and
anything that was good is gonna be gone.
The character, Ben Platt's character, Peyton, is very much like Rachel Berry, because Rachel Berry's like, I'm gonna be on Broadway, and he's like, I'm gonna be the president, and like very single-minded, but like still likable. He also sings a song in the first episode.
Shocker.
A song that Rachel sings in Glee.
Wait.
Oh boy.
Which song?
River.
Oh my god. Oh.
Yeah.
Have I seen this happen yet?
No.
Okay, guys, let's keep it on track here.
So I thought we needed to talk about that, featuring my controversial favorite movie star, Gwyneth Paltrow. I love Gwyneth Paltrow. I know she's the worst, but I love her.
It's okay, Cullen. We forgive you.
She was great in that show, and she was great in Emma, and she's great in Glee when we meet her later.
Again, we don't want to spoil things for Alyssa, but it's fine.
Cool. So, of the two episodes, I know we usually would talk about this at the end, but did you enjoy one and really hate the other? Because that's where I was.
I don't know if I really liked either of them, but I guess like I don't know. I guess they were for me, they were actually pretty mild compared to like some of the others we just watched.
Yeah, honestly, I gotta say they were just there.
I mean,
that's kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
Mr. Shu didn't rap in either of them.
That is,
I think that's what made it watchable.
That's what it. Mm-hmm.
The fact that wasn't there. So, which ones? So, Cullen, I want to know which one did you like and which one you were like, no.
I liked Jump. I did not like Hairography.
Okay, so I also thought it was called Jump because that's also what I have. The episode is called fucking Mattress.
Oh.
I had to look it up. I was like, is it Jump? It's fucking Mattress. It's just like a random word that somewhat ties all the storylines together. Is that how they do titles?
Let's just clarify this. It's not actually called fucking Mattress. It's
I
just
wish it was.
Mattress.
I'm upset. So, you hated Mattress?
No, I liked Mattress.
Okay, you liked Mattress but hated Hairography.
I hate Hairography.
I have to say, I think out of the two, I probably liked. Yeah, I liked Mattress better. It was more even.
You know why I liked Hairography? Because I felt validated about that stupid Sunshine song. Do you remember that? The one that Hannah and I were so up in arms about because they were wearing terrible dresses and the hair was swishing all over the place. And I really hated it. And now they have an entire episode about how that's bad. So
you know
I felt validated.
Right. You were actually, that is like really validating. Actually, though, I think, let me double check. No, one of my songs is from Hairography that I actually liked because I couldn't really, even though I literally watched Mattress today, I couldn't think of a song that I actually liked in it. So I just picked one from Hairography.
So, should we jump right into it?
Oh, nailed it.
Oh boy.
And let's talk about Hairography.
Okay.
The main plot is Will and Sue are at odds again, as usual. And he sees Brittany taping their dancer performance. And he's like, Brittany, what are you doing? And she's like, Coach Sylvester didn't ask me to do this. Like, she didn't tell me to do this.
I love Brittany. She shined in these two episodes, or this episode specifically.
Yeah, this was a good Brittany episode.
Both of them, she shines.
Yeah. So Brittany was like, so then Will is like, okay, Sue, like, are you spying on us? And he thinks that she sent the set list to the two rival schools, which are Jane Addams Academy and a school for the deaf. And so he goes to Jane Addams Academy and we get some nice, slightly racist imagery of like...
I'm gonna say very racist here.
Of like, he has to go through all the detectors, and then he meets Grace Hitchens, who's the head of the club, their Glee club, and she's saying like, Aphasia, why did you rob the bank? And she's like, because that's where they keep the money.
The money.
And
I fucking love that line, honestly.
And then she steals his wallet, and I like wish she did because
he deserves it.
Yeah. And then he's like, are you stealing our set list? And she's like, how dare you come in and accuse me of that? Which, like, fair.
Valid.
Yeah. And so then he's like, oh yeah, I understand the arts are underfunded. I'm just like you. And you're like, stop.
He's literally the fucking worst. Also, I love Eve. She's so great. I wish she was in more stuff.
Oh, who plays Grace Hitchens?
Yeah, I love her. She's great.
Good. Yeah. And so they have an invitational and they sing Bootylicious. And they're good dancers, I think.
Except they don't want us to think so because they're moving their hair all around.
Yeah.
Which, like, I was into that number. I was like, yes, girl, move your hair, move your ass. Yes, sing that.
I gotta say no to the hair. No, I don't like that at all. Still.
They had a pretty big Glee club. Like, there were a lot of girls, yeah. And I did think, like, their whole, like, oh, we don't have costumes, but we have this, like, they had this, like, street style that just was, it was a little uncomfortable. Like, the way they were dressed, like, we were the bad girls.
And yet they still all matched.
Yeah, they still all matched. And Cullen's Corner, once I went to a dance in college that was so bad, Bootylicious was the only good song they played.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. It's like just mainly weird techno and like rap from the 90s that I don't know because I was born in the 90s. I was a literal child.
I like techno.
Yeah, but like it wasn't good dancing music. Anyways, end of my corner, but so then afterwards, Rachel's like, it's only because they move their hair around a lot. It's hairography, it's smoke and mirrors. Because Will is obviously like, oh no, they're better than us. And so then Will is like, we should have long hair. And he gets them wigs.
I don't understand why anyone would trust Shu's judgment of whether something is good or not, because he literally spent 2 whole songs in one single episode doing really uncomfortable R&B/rap, and I was like, you have no say in what is and what is not good, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he gets them all long hair, and Rachel's like, we don't need to do this, like, we're talented enough, and he's like, basically like, no, I'm nervous, we need to do this. And I'm like, what a bad teacher. And then Sue sees him doing it and is like, well, first he's like, we got to point out Brittany's moment to shine, because he's like, Brittany, take it away. She's like, take what away?
And then she's like, oh yeah, it's like cool epilepsy. And I'm like, Brittany, I love you.
That line, yep, I remember that one.
Was quality Brittany. She just keeps getting better.
And so she shows them how to flip their hair around. And Sue
to no
music. And Sue sees it. Sue sees it. I just did the C logo that she does at the end of her Sue's Corner.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can't see because this is an audio medium.
I mean, no, podcasts are definitely a visual medium. I know what you're talking about.
So Sue is like, these kids don't need to, like, I have my cheerleaders tie their hair behind their head so their hair doesn't distract from their talent. Like, you obviously don't believe in your kids, which is why you're doing this. And you're like, fair. And he's like, you're trying to undermine me. And it's like, I mean, yes, but also you're making a terrible choice.
An amazing point. Like, actually, like, normally when Sue makes points, it's just like, oh, that's really problematic. But like, that's an unproblematic line that she's like, I do this so that you don't distract from their impeccable talent. And I was like, wow, like that is actually a really good point. It made me kind of gave me some chills.
And they fight in front of the Glee Club again, and they watch Will basically admit that he doesn't believe in them.
Yeah, well, they're all wearing wigs. They have these like dramatic faces, and the guys have like really long 80s hair. It's terrible.
And then we get this great, and by great I mean terrible scene, where they have the director of the deaf show choir come in, and he's upset that they had scrimmage with Jane Addams. And his deafness is treated as a joke.
Okay, yeah, we need to talk about this because it made me really uncomfortable to laugh at it, because that actor is really funny, and I've seen him in a lot of like other like smaller roles. But like, I don't remember that being like funny at all when I first watched it, and this is just like uncomfortable laughter. I was like, ugh, scarlet fever, I'm deaf. And then like the thing that really I hated was when he was like, he called his secretary and they were both like, hello, like back and forth, and I'm like, this is not great.
Yeah, it was not good. And then Will was doing like hand gestures to him, but not sign language, just like condescending garsh.
It was just, I don't know.
It was not a sensitive treatment of the deaf community.
No, it was not.
I don't know. Thus far, I don't know how sensitive Glee is to
any
anything.
community.
Yeah, so like, I guess they're kind of on the right path for what they're known for already.
So they have the invitational, and the deaf school, they come to listen to them, and they do this pretty weird medley of Crazy in Love and Hair.
I hated it. Also, like, okay, so
the deaf school does not do the Crazy medley.
New Directions does.
Yes.
I also hate that they're called New Directions. We'll talk about that another time. But this Hair / Crazy in Love made it to the Glee album, right? You know what didn't make it to the Glee album? Fucking Bootylicious, which is way better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did they put this stupid fucking mashup on their album? I was so upset. I think actually I really did hate this episode.
Yeah, when I was like, oh, I hated
it.
when I'm like, I hated this, and you're like, oh, this was fine. I'm like, that's weird because if I hate it, Hannah should
If you
really
hate it, Hannah should really hate it. And that's the thing, is like, I think I just forgot. And then now we're talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is bad. I hated this.
And the deaf choir is like judging them because it's a bad performance.
That and like, so like this whole episode also, like I just have this line where it's literally stop the voiceovers. There are so many voiceovers in these 2 episodes that like it's just so distracting.
It was really annoying. I remember being annoyed by
like,
the voiceovers.
Like I literally have it right after the Jane Addams thing. Like, was there one like right after Jane Addams that like was literally super annoying because it literally is in all caps, and I have this line like 4 times in my notes. There's too many.
There were a lot of I do remember them using a lot of voiceovers in this episode, and they hadn't in a while.
Which makes it even weirder, almost,
Yeah.
because you forgot about them, and then all of a sudden they're there again. Ew.
Ew. Oh, okay. So yes, they do Hair / Crazy in Love.
And then the deaf choir goes up and they start performing a song that I believe will play and does play at the gates of hell. John Lennon's Imagine. I hate that song like so much. Like so many other songs, people would be like, I hate Rebecca Black's Friday. I'm like, I would pick Rebecca Black's Friday over Imagine any day of the week.
I have to know your reasoning behind this.
It's like the epitome of like white liberal condescension and like a hippie Beatle thinking he knows better than everyone and like being like, oh my gosh, like let's just all get along, and not thinking about like how complex life is.
Society is.
It's just like, to me, it's like cheap feel good, like, oh my gosh, imagine if there was just peace. And I'm like, even when there's no war, bad things still happen to people. Like there's still oppression, there's still poverty, like
it's a song that's trying to solve all the world's problems. I get that. Here's my fun fact that I kind of teased to you that I have. I remember you saying that you hate this song. I was at the gym watching this episode and watching that part specifically, and then I had this like flashback to my middle schoolhood, I guess, where I'm pretty sure, and I wrote, Imagine is one of my go-to cry songs, and I'm pretty sure I've cried to the Glee version of it. So like there were times when like I just like needed to cry and I would put on music, and I'm pretty sure I would put that song on. And I'm ashamed to look you in the face.
You have so much hatred for this song. You're not usually like a hate type of person, and you're just like hating on this song. It's not even a bad song.
It's
like
a bad song.
Cullen, no.
So excited to talk about this because I knew you hated this song. And I was like, this is why he hates this episode. One of the reasons I've now found out. But
well, because not only do I hate the song, so the performance starts out so that it's like they're doing sign language and he's like speaking the lines, and like if I liked the song, but like a lot of people do like the song, like it's a nice performance, like and then
chills.
Mercedes starts to sing, like, so the other choir starts to perform during the like the New Direction starts to perform during the deaf choir's performance, and they get up there and they're singing over them, so they're literally taking their voices, and like it's cute, it's like cool when they're like showing them how to do the sign language and stuff, and I'm like,
see, that was the one thing that I was like, I'm not sure. Okay, so I can see in this world where they can just randomly break into perfect harmony, awesome. But when you can randomly break into perfect ASL, that's where I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it feels really phony. Like, it feels forced.
Like the song Imagine.
Hey, back off. Back off.
Oh shit, these roommates are about to fight.
Why do you hate other people's imaginations, Cullen?
I love imagination. I just don't like, is it John Lennon or Paul McCartney? I'm so bad, I can't remember.
I just, yeah, I was really uncomfortable because, like, you can kind of see, like, some of them, it looks like the person who's performing with ASL is, like, teaching the Glee member the ASL, but it's like, you can tell that these people have already practiced this whole scene, so it feels really forced. And yeah, you're right, like, Mercedes starting to sing, like, who do we feel proud of at the end of this moment? Like, we feel proud of our Glee members because they got up there and they sang with them. Like, no, it's really forced.
Like, the whole point is they had a more authentic performance, so you should let them complete their performance.
Authentic performance. I 100% agree.
Yeah. Like, it'd be one thing
even if it's a song that Cullen hates.
Even if it's a song that Cullen hates.
Yeah, and it'd be one thing if they're like, come on, sing with us. Like, if they
if they invited them.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Yeah.
They literally just were like, Mercedes like, I feel like I have to sing. And then she just sang. And then they got up and they joined them. Yeah. Wow.
And then Will is moved, which makes me feel like a good person because I'm not moved, but Will is. So if that's the opposite of what Will is
Every
feeling.
time, okay. I think Matthew Morrison's a great actor, but there's some face moments in these 2 episodes where I'm like, I'm uncomfortable. Every time he like starts to cry and his like eyes tear up, he looks like he's gonna sneeze. That's what I think of. So yeah. Also, side note, Matthew Morrison, speaking of another Ryan Murphy project that probably isn't warranted, was it American Horror Story or whatever?
He's in American Horror Story right now, yeah.
Did you see any of yeah, Cullen, you're shaking your head. Apparently they gave him like a giant dick. And so he's just hung in these like tight athletic shorts from like the 70s. And it's uncomfortable. I don't like it. So yeah, I wanted to punish everybody else with that information.
Matthew Morrison, it's just a giant ball of uncomfortable feelings.
And honestly, I don't even think it's his fault. I blame Ryan Murphy.
So that's kind of that's the main plot. He decides that we don't need hairography. He puts together a set list, and then Sue, who he gives a set list to, gives it to the leader of the deaf choir and Jane Addams. And and Grace Hitchens is like, I'm supposed to teach my girls to like not steal and cheat, but you want me to steal and cheat? And we're like, yeah, good point. Why would you do this? And then Sue's like, but you'll make them feel like winners and gives them something to do and believe in. And she's like, sure, yep, I'll betray my morals.
Might as well. Sue said it, so.
I mean, Sue's point kind of is like, yeah, but like, if this is really all they have to look forward to is like being a part of this choir and doing well, and then like they end up losing, like basically she's asking her to weigh the options, and I'm actually like, that's kind of an interesting, more nuanced point than I actually expected.
Yeah, but it's still like very socioeconomic and racist.
Absolutely.
Very, very much so. Because she's like, they don't have anything for the rest of their lives except for this show choir.
I honestly think that like Sue gets more nuance in this episode than she normally does, which is why it's like, oh, like you actually make a good point, but it is based in like terribleness. But like, what's her point for the show choir director of the deaf school? Like, I don't remember her point being that significant.
I don't think he complained. I think he was just like,
just like, all right, cool.
Oh, well, he complained because he was like, Scarlet Fever, I'm deafened this year. So he definitely complained.
And then she said, read my lips. And she said something that I don't remember.
Yeah, because I was taken aback by just how much they were using that joke of Scarlet Fever.
Well, it's just disingenuous. Is that the right term? When you're like, let's laugh at people for being deaf and then let's be inspired by them. Like, it's just a weird, like you're treating them as something to like give us emotions, whether they be like mockery or like inspiration. And that's like
I feel like that's what Glee does best. Like, I feel like that's going to be a common theme we discover as we continue watching, because like they may have some really good intentions with a lot of the things they do in the future, and like one of them in particular really bothers me, and when we get to it I know like we'll have a lot to talk about, but like they try to do it with good intentions and it just falls flat because of like it's ultimately based in mockery or some type of phoniness or forced compassion or empathy, something like that. So like, yeah, it's gonna be probably a running theme.
So moving on to our, so we had 2 Will plots today, which
Yay.
A+, love that. The second one is Terry wants to distract Will because he tried to touch her in their bed where she keeps a pillow in between them. And so she doesn't want him to find out that she's faking a pregnancy. So she buys him a replica of his old car from high school. Because if we know anything about Will, it's that he peaked in high school.
He loves cars. Oh, that too. Honestly,
that was good.
No, that's actually way better, because my thing was like, oh yeah, because like we know how much he just loves cars. He talks about it all the time, but peaking in high school, they talk about that.
So she gets him that to work on, and Quinn, meanwhile, is all like, I don't know if I want to keep my baby.
The theme for this episode is distraction.
Yeah. They say it a million times.
Only, yeah, I thought about counting how many times they said distraction.
Oh, I wish you had.
I did not.
Oh.
I think I would have maybe gone crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm like thinking about now all the times that like there's distraction for like almost every single one of the. Why did they call it distraction instead of hairography? That's a way better title. It's better than mattress.
So Terry is trying to convince Quinn to keep. Quinn was going to give Terry her baby, and now Quinn is having second thoughts, and Terry wants Quinn to give her the baby. And Kendra's like, we'll have her babysit my children because they're awful, and that will make her not want to keep her baby. And Quinn is like, oh, I want to give a test run for Puck because Puck seems like he might be a good dad. And we're like, Quinn, you have terrible judgment.
And she continues to have terrible judgment forever and always.
So Quinn and Puck babysit for Kendra's children.
Yes, but Quinn has to distract Finn.
Yes, that gets into our next plot. So I want to finish this plot and then get to Quinn's distraction.
We can't leave all the distractions out.
We'll get to that distraction. I just want to tie a bow on this one. Since they try, the kids are crazy, and then Quinn and Puck are let's sing for them, and she basically sings a song kind of to her dad, Papa Don't Preach.
I don't understand. Like, no one in this show knows their audience ever when they sing. And like, why are you singing this to children? And 2, like, why are you singing this at all in this context? It has nothing to do with what you're doing right this second. Like, I don't know.
It ties into her daddy issues that were a theme this episode.
It's all a distraction.
Everything. The entire show is a distraction from your normal life.
Vroom vroom.
So yeah, and then
vroom. Get in the car. Aww. Anyway, fine. Rip.
So Quinn gets them to go to bed, and because the kids apparently liked the song, and we're like, okay. Maybe they're just in love with Quinn. I was in love with my blonde babysitter as a little ginger baby.
Aw, cute. Yeah. That was another small Cullen's Corner.
Little mini Cullen's Corners this week. So then Kendra's like, oh no, Kendra and Terry are worried she's going to want to keep her baby. But then at school, Santana is like, back off my man. And Quinn's like, what? And she's like, we were sexting all night. And she's like, what's sexting? And Santana's like, what era are you from?
Sexy texting. Honestly,
And she's talking about Puck, just in case you forgot who we were talking about, because it was a long, drawn-out explanation of this plot. Puck was the one who was babysitting at the same time as sexting with Santana.
I honestly, like, Santana was the person I apparently was cast as, and I honestly feel like I could never live up to her in this moment. Like, I want to be as good at sexting as Santana says she is. Like, that's really what I want out of my life.
It's funny too, because this is just before like Snapchat and picture messaging was so common. So I'm like, how did she not know he was sexting? Like, he wasn't taking any pictures. But like they were just like audio, or not audio.
The text. Yeah. It's like, if you read some of them, like, one of them's literally like, what are you wearing? And then, like, I'm pretty sure it doesn't get that much sexier. So I was like,
no. It was, tell me about your panties. And then the next one was, I'm not wearing any. I remember that.
Sexy.
Wow.
Very sexy.
I'm so aroused.
Whenever my friend in college would be like, what should I text this boy? I'd just be like, text him, what are you wearing? She'd be like, no. And I'm like, well, that's all I have.
Also, back to like when Kendra and Terry discovered that Quinn and Puck had, well, let's be honest, Quinn did a good job babysitting. She like asks, what's that smell? And then Quinn's like, soap. And then they're like, you got them to take baths? And I'm like, Kendra, you're a terrible fucking mother. That's disgusting.
That's gross.
Child abuse.
Yeah.
Charged with negligence?
Yeah.
Is that a thing? That's a thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so Quinn is upset because she realized that, I do love Santana calling Quinn out on basically being from the 50s, because she is. But Quinn is upset with Puck. Waiting for this motorcycle to go by. Oh, wow. Quinn is upset with Puck because he was basically like, he wasn't all there. And he's like, well, like, you won't let me bone you or whatever. So, like, if we're together, I'll be a great dad, but, like, you can't contain me. And she's like, so we'd be together, we'd be sexting every other girl in school. She's like, no, only the hot ones. And you're like,
he's such a trash human being.
So bad.
He's like, I'm a man, I have needs. And I'm like, you're disgusting, I hate you.
If I cut your dick off, will your needs go away?
Ooh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
That's some Lorena Bobbitt shit right there.
Mm-hmm. Silence from Cullen.
Cullen's like,
I live with Alyssa. Yeah. So Quinn is like, yeah, I want to be back with Finn. So let's go back to what's been going on with Finn. What was Quinn's initial distraction? I actually really like this scene. She goes up to Kurt and is like, hey, Kurt, can I talk to you for a second? And he's like, we've never spoken before. And she's like, I'm sorry about that. And like, that's perfect high school mean girl. Like, just so like, good. She's like so cheery. Sorry about that. But
yeah, quality.
And she wants Kurt to give Rachel a makeover because Rachel's randomly in like a Hillary Clinton pantsuit that day.
This is where it comes in. This is the whole Rachel manages to dress like a toddler and a grandmother at the same time. I was like, yes, this is the anti-Rachel content that I am looking for. It's just like just enough anti-Rachel.
So Kurt decides to give Rachel a makeover. And when Quinn suggests it, because Quinn wants to use Rachel to distract Finn. So Kurt tells Rachel, like, is like, oh, we'll make it so every boy will turn their head when you walk by. And Rachel's like, I just want one boy. Because Rachel just, like, you can tell that she, like, has no friends in this scene. And she's like, the moment someone's paying attention to her, she's like, oh, I'll confide in them. Even though she has no reason to trust Kurt.
Yeah, she literally does it. And she like gets betrayed and I'm like, girl, come on.
He was already dissing her room, saying it's where Holly Hobby and Polly Pocket come to hook up.
Yeah.
I love Kurt.
Yeah, he was very sneaky because he says Finn is attracted to loose women, and Rachel's like, I feel like Quinn is not that. And he's like, no, it'll work. You have to do the Sandy from Grease and dress all sexy. So then Rachel shows up to school all sexy. Thank God we didn't get a scene with Jacob and Israel.
Oh, Lord. That would have been awful.
And then yeah, you're not. Finn is all like, oh, hi. And then she's like,
he got distracted.
Yeah, distracted. Bum, bum, bum. And she's like, let's go practice. I'll teach you how to use your hair for hairography because I've had luscious locks since I was in pageants as a toddler. And so Quinn lets him come over because she wants to babysit with Puck. And so he comes over and she starts singing, they start singing You're the One That I Want from Grease. And she's all like, tell me about it, stud. And it's like being very sexy. Air quotes. And then Finn is like, stop, you look like a sad clown hooker.
It's like, thanks, Finn.
He's like, I like the way you normally dress. You don't have to change how you look. And I'm like, I do like, he says, no, she's like, oh, I feel so stupid. And he's like, no, this is my fault. I shouldn't have come here. So I like that he admits that like he was in the wrong.
He's setting very high expectations and low expectations for men all at the same time. It's kind of astounding.
That really is Finn in a nutshell.
High and low expectations.
Well, his big comparison is Puck, who's just like no human decency.
And then Shu, like there's like literally Finn is at the top of the food chain. Everyone else sucks.
Yeah, and he's basically just like a horny teenage boy who's at least trying not to be garbage. And that's what makes him the top.
Yeah.
So then Rachel's like, oh, I thought you liked that. And he's like, oh, well, that's funny. I just had this conversation with Kurt. And Kurt told him, or he told Kurt, oh, I like natural looks. And so Kurt deliberately sabotaged Rachel because he's in love with Finn.
Which, Rachel found out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like you brought up that like she really has no reason to trust Kurt because like he's not really nice to her even after being like, yeah, like I want to do a makeover and make you look like a hoe. He quite literally says that. And then she's like super betrayed by it. But it just doesn't feel earned.
Well, she's like, I thought we were friends. And like, I kind of get that because I feel like Rachel's someone who just wants friends. So like, she just thinks
she trusts.
Yeah, she thinks of everyone in Glee Club as her friend.
And then Kurt says, why did you think that?
Which is so mean and manipulative.
It is super mean.
Yeah.
It's really, really mean. But at the same time, I see where he's coming from because they have spent one day together? Not even a full day.
Well, that and like, she's like one of the divas of Glee Club and he like always he has to compete with her because he also has like a similar star potential.
Yeah, they just had the diva off. They were enemies. Why would she ever think they were friends?
And like, yeah, like she doesn't like talking to anyone really, like because she's just so focused on her that she just like she's very short-sighted when it comes to being selfless with her communication. So like I don't know, like Kurt was kind of like saying how it was. Like it was mean, but also like Rachel has to learn her lesson. She's a lesson learning machine.
There we go.
Yeah, I definitely think what Kurt did was really bad.
Yeah.
Like
gross.
Yeah, like it's just like, yeah, Rachel shouldn't have trusted him, but like that still like makes him a garbage person for taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
And I feel like later on in the show, no spoilers, but Kurt becomes very like almost perfect at times, and I like that Kurt here isn't perfect, because no one in this show is like a saint, and I like that Kurt hasn't been canonized yet.
Yes, that's the thing, is like I'm kind of taking it all in, because I'm like, it's like post Who We Meet Soon next season, like post that relationship, that Kurt would never do something like this.
Yeah.
Like, so that's why I'm like first season Kurt can be a bitch, and I love it.
Guys, let's keep it to the episode we're in.
Right, that's what we're saying. It's like we have to take this in. Like, for the two of us that have seen it, like we have to try to enjoy this version of Kurt, because like he's just different.
Is he? Because right now he only exists in this episode.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So then Rachel says something kind of mean, where she's like, yeah, well, even if I was in 50th in place, I'd always be ahead of you because I'm a girl, when she finds out that he likes Finn, which is really mean as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this is kind of later, Finn and Quinn both like make up, and we're like, oh, Finn's like, I wasn't honest with you, I want to be totally honest. And like, I love you, and hug, and they walk off, and Rachel and Kurt both stare at them longingly, and they look at each other and wave, and it's the birth of the Kurt-Rachel friendship.
Yeah, that's a cute moment.
Question though, just about this scene in particular, not about Kurt or Rachel, about Quinn and Finn. Why did they have this conversation at school? They're living together.
Good point.
Because we don't have a set.
They have the basement. His mom was doing laundry in the basement. They have his room. They have literally anything except for the school hallway where anyone can overhear that.
I actually think Glee showed a lot of restraint in that moment, because like he comes out of the bathroom and she's like waiting for him, and he literally says like all that stuff, like, oh, like I wasn't honest with you, and like this is what happened, and he literally says, I only want to be with you. And I was like, listen, a different version of Glee would have literally had them sing this moment in song with the fucking Hootie and the Blowfish song, I Only Want to Be With You. So like Glee showed restraint, and I'm honestly so disappointed.
Now I'm just imagining that.
And it would have been a duet and then a mashup with something else really fucking stupid. So Glee showed restraint, and I'm not happy about it.
So those were all the main storylines in Hairography, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't really think there's anything else.
Oh, at the end, Tina gets a solo.
And red eyeshadow.
Tina sings True Colors, and everyone else steals longing glances at each other as they sing True Colors in front of like the Windows Media Player little colorful swirlies that they make when you play songs.
And they all have different colored shirts on, so that's fun.
It was cute. It's authentic.
Was it?
This is authentic, but Imagine is not authentic.
Imagine was authentic for the Glee Club, or the Deaf Club that was singing. The song is but the club that was singing it meant it authentically, and this, I feel like the New Directions meant it authentically. Tina was singing about how she sees, I don't know, how she's like, I don't need to stutter anymore, my true colors.
And also, she obviously needs the solo because her hair is the only hair that is highlighted in color.
Yeah.
True.
It's purple.
Yeah. She also like gets no lines, but she has like a pink lipstick, pink red eyeshadow, and she gets to sing a solo. So like that's her like one good Tina deed for the episode. Good for her. Yeah.
The next episode, which I preferred much better, was much better. Yeah.
Grammar.
Was Mattress.
Oh, I hate it. That's a bad title.
Mattress is all about the yearbook, which
is so...
I was confused.
I'm so bored. I was like, this is actually boring.
This is gonna be, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this on the podcast. I was homeschooled, and my mom created the homeschool yearbook. Like, we would have the high schoolers over at our house since I was like a little kid, and
This is Cullen's Corner.
We would make a yearbook every year, and so like everyone would, like, you distribute yearbooks to either every student in a family would get one or every family, but like they act like, oh, if someone defaces the yearbook, because the whole plot is the Glee kids don't want to be in the yearbook because their picture will get defaced, and Sue convinces Figgins, the worst principal ever, to pull the Glee Club's page from the yearbook. Here's the thing, like, they act like there's one yearbook, and once it's defaced, like, that picture's defaced forever. Like, they'd still each have their own yearbook.
Yeah. So it's like, and you can replace the defaced copy with the undefaced copy and just let them run out copies, I guess. But like, there will always be at least one copy that is not defaced because
it was supposed to be super high stakes, and it just wasn't.
Nothing was high stakes about this.
It wasn't.
It's like, really nothing was. It wasn't until like a reveal toward the end of the episode that we're like, oh, there's stakes in this episode. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Which are revealed stakes actually stakes?
No.
I don't know. That's a discussion.
That's a discussion. Good thing we have a podcast. Let's jump right into it, right, Cullen? Also, wait, okay, can we quickly talk about why I don't want to be calling the Glee Club New Directions?
Because it sounds like New Direction.
Yes, and I can't unhear that. So if we could refrain, that'd be great. Or keep doing it, I don't care. But I'm just going to keep laughing.
So the main plots in this one, we might have to cut this piece of audio, but it's, so we have the yearbook plot, we have the big pregnancy reveal, we have
Emma, Ken, and
Will, and then Rachel on the Mattress commercial, and Quinn wanted to be a cheerleader again.
Yeah, so Quinn and Sue.
That one's pretty small.
Yeah.
Great.
So let's start
with the boringest one.
Is that the Emma?
Okay.
So let's jump right into Mattress. So Mattress starts off, as we said before, Sue convinces Figgins to cut the Glee Club from the yearbook. And then Will is all like, how much do I have to pay to get them a spot in the yearbook? And Figgins is like $300, and Terry's like, no way are you doing that, Will. And then Will's like, I don't care about what my wife says, and he does it anyway. But they can only have a small page with like 2 people, and the Glee Club doesn't want to be in the yearbook because they think they'll get wedgies if they're known to be in Glee Club. I'm like, doesn't everyone already know you're in Glee Club because you sang Push It in front of the whole school?
Yeah.
That, and like, they've been getting slushied for like a couple episodes now, so like, people know who is in Glee Club, and since when are wedgies a problem?
It was upsetting to hear that someone hung Artie by the flagpole from his underwear, because I'm like, he can't, like,
he can't walk.
Like, it just was like, are people that terrible?
I mean they did.
Puck goes to this school.
True. Well, I mean, like, the first episode, they were throwing Kurt in the trash. Also, they locked Artie in a porta potty, right?
Yeah.
Artie's line that, like, you got an American wedgie, right? Or something like that. A patriotic wedgie. And he's like, it did actually make me feel more American. And I actually laughed out loud at that. I was just like, that's actually kind of a funny line.
It was funny, yeah.
Like, all right, good one.
So they decide they don't want to be in yearbook. And she was like, you're going to be in the yearbook. And they're like, well, only 2 team captains. And Rachel wants to be in the yearbook because she is in every student club, including like the Muslim Students Association and the Black Students Association. And she wants Kurt to start what she calls a gay lesball, a gay lesbian alliance, so
but
she can be in it.
She doesn't want to be in any of these clubs so that she is like being involved in the school. She wants to be in these clubs so that she can practice taking pictures for the paparazzi.
Mm-hmm.
That is her reasoning why she's in these clubs.
Yeah. And like there's more voiceover. So like she talks about that in voiceover. She does a lot of voiceover and face journey work in this episode. It's amazing. Leah Michelle is a machine. But like, did she also, or was that, maybe I'm thinking of Quinn, like Rachel wants to look like she participates in a lot of things, but like Quinn actually wants to like feel like she belongs.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Rachel's being phony.
She's a phony, as Holden Caulfield would say in Catcher in the Rye.
Fun fact, that used to be my favorite book back in like 10th grade, and
Hannah went around being like, phonies.
I really was like, yeah, I totally get what Holden's saying, and now I'm like, oh, that kid is troubled.
If there's one word I'd use to describe you, Hannah, it is troubled.
Thank you. I'm truly honored.
Hannah's walking around looking at her past self saying, oh, that kid is troubled.
Phony.
Phony.
So, yeah, Rachel wants to be in the yearbook picture, and no one else wants to be in it with her. They all unanimously vote for her to be in it. And so then she's going around asking people to be in it. And Mercedes is like, I have Kwanzaa. And it's like, we established that Mercedes is Christian and probably would just be celebrating Christmas, not Kwanzaa.
Yeah, I mean, also, like, after having the, like, weird reference to Rachel being in, like, I guess it's, like, the Black Student Alliance, it's kind of like, it doesn't land as a joke, because it's like, no, just stop.
And then the best is she's like, Brittany, like, be a co-captain with me. And she's like, no, I don't want to. It'll get defaced. And she's like, no, it won't. And she's like, no, I'll be the one doing it.
I love Brittany's honesty. I appreciate her candor. Great.
So she convinces Finn to do it with her and be the co-captain. She's like, you have to be a leader. And he's like, yeah, I do need to be a leader because I'm a white male character who is just constantly told I'm a leader because that's the role I've been assigned. And then he gets Karofsky and that football player guy draw Sharpie on him because they're like,
we're practicing.
Yeah. Hannah looks like she wants to say something right now.
Before that, he and Rachel meet up.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this.
I'm really confused, and maybe you guys can help me. Why the fuck did they sing a song to practice smiling? Like, that's what they were doing. Like, they got together. She's like, I'm going to help you practice your posing and your smiling, and we're going to sing this Lily Allen song, and it's going to be uncomfortable.
Not to mention, that song is probably, like, sure, it's about smiling for really terrible, insane reasons.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure all the smile songs in this episode are actually really depressing.
Yeah, it was kind of like, it was basically like, okay, we need another song this episode. We have Corey Monteith and Leah Michelle around the most because they're leads. They're going to sing this song. We're going to make some cute Finchel content and have them be playful. It ends
in him tickling her. She smacks his ass at one point, and I'm like, no, I'm out. Fuck this.
You didn't do that in high school while practicing for your yearbook picture?
Yes, I did. I smacked my high school crush, who was also my friend because we were both in choir, and I would smack his ass, and it wasn't problematic at all.
So that was such like a random moment that I literally forgot about it.
I just don't understand why it was happening. I was literally like, you don't have to do this. This doesn't need to be a scene. Like, this is literally the most boring episode, and you're just stuffing it with stupid content.
I enjoyed it.
Oh. I'm questioning your taste now, though. You don't like Imagine.
Oh gosh.
That's why it's so bad. Yeah.
Okay.
So, just imagining the scene that comes next.
Imagining.
So then they're there to pose for like the Glee picture. It's Rachel and the guy who's the cameraman is Krupke on Big Bang Theory.
Oh my god.
Or Kripke. Yeah. The guy who like he talks funny. He has a speech impediment that's treated like a joke. Because TV's great.
Yeah.
And he's taking Rachel's picture, and Finn bails because Karofsky and the other guy were drawing Sharpie on his face to practice, and so he just ditches her. She's in the picture alone, and then he's like, I have to leave to go like record a local commercial, and she like cries on cue and is like, she just starts crying. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, and then she's like, I can cry on cue.
So like she does some amazing, I mean, the VO work is awful because VO work, but her like VO and the mirror moment, like Leah Michelle was in that, and I was like, this does not need to be here or this long. And it was just uncomfy, but she was doing her job for sure.
Oh, because she was looking in the mirror. She's like, it's lonely at the top. I have to be strong and I have to do this.
And then she was like, what's that song about smiling when you have like career disappointments? Oh yeah. And then she like starts singing it in her head and like her face kind of lights up. And then she's like, okay, I'm ready. And I'm like, this is Emmy worthy content. I hate this show.
I kind of liked that little monologue.
Cullen.
Because it like we got to see what was going on in her head and her be strong.
I feel like things that I think are absolutely ridiculous, you're like, I actually thought that was nice. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should think it's nice. I should be nicer. And then I'm like, no, I hate this.
Just like Cullen hates Imagine.
Let it die.
You like really like that song, Alyssa?
No, I just like annoying you.
Okay, let's get to the title, the titular part of this episode.
They then perform the entirety of the musical Once Upon a Mattress. So then he's like, okay, you can be on my local commercial. She's like, I can get the entire Glee Club to be in it. And she's like, we'll be local celebrities. Everyone's like, we're excited to be in this commercial. And Finn's like, my mom will be so proud. But I do love the entire time. She's basically like, Glee Club, Finn, I see you could show up. And it's like, nice. And so they dress up in pajamas. And Mercedes is like, when I'm famous after being in this local commercial, I'll pretend I don't know you.
Okay, guys. Should I wait to say how many lines Tina had, or should I reveal them now?
I think it's the
end of where she had them.
This is the Tina's corner is the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Tina's
Tina time.
Tina time. Okay.
So then they sing, he's like, oh, you have to deliver these lines, and they're awkward. And they're like, we're a Glee Club. We perform. And so they sing Jump, and they jump around on the mattresses. And for whatever reason, this is not embarrassing, but being taken in a picture in a yearbook is embarrassing.
I guess, like, they don't think that their schoolmates are technologically equipped to re-edit any of that footage and make it look really fucking stupid. I mean, it takes more time. But like that script that guy writes, he literally is like, he's like, yeah, like I wrote this myself, no big deal. And then
brilliant.
It's literally like, they're like, why are you so sad? He's like, we lost our jobs at the factory. And I was like, this would be a local commercial. But I have to say, like, the idea of, like, a local Glee Club doing, like, a local commercial, like, if I saw that, like, living around here on TV, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of cute. Like, that's fun.
Yeah.
Like, because it's Glee, I'm like, I hate this. Your pajamas make you look like giant toddlers, and I'm uncomfy.
Yeah. It would be cute in real life.
Yeah. Also, Quinn is like, if she
Pregnant.
is pregnant enough to know the sex of her child, she's probably too pregnant to be jumping around like that. So I'm like, what's the truth? This is just one of their many continuity errors.
I don't know, Hannah. Have you ever been pregnant? I've never been pregnant.
True, but it's like, you can't be jumping around like that.
Well, I've
Like-
also never done a backflip, so...
You've never done a backflip?
No. Have you done
You've
a
not done
backflip?
Yeah, on like a trampoline?
Good lord. You had a
Really?
trampoline?
No, my friend did. No, I was poor.
Well, I was poor too, and so were all my friends. So...
Yeah, no, I did a backflip on trampoline a couple times. Can't do it now. I'm too fucking old. I'd probably break my neck. Anyway.
So they do the commercial, and they get paid in mattresses, and Sue is doing Sue's Corner, and she's talking about she wants a national holiday where ugly people have to stay in their homes so she doesn't have to look at them.
Uglies and fatties.
Uglies and
specifically.
And then as she walks by, she says that to, like, I think Andrea is the name of, like, her co-star on the show. She's like, I'm talking about you, Andrea. And she sees the ad for the mattress store that has Rachel being like, come down to Mattress Land as they all sing Jump. And she's like, oh, and she, like, gets an idea.
Question.
Yeah.
They sang Jump on this
Mhm.
commercial, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's in the commercial. That's going to be an expensive commercial to pay for those music rights, right?
Is it different if it's a cover?
I don't know. I don't think so.
That was something I thought about, and then I was like, I'm just going to let this go because this is the Gleeverse.
This is the Glee. Nothing matters in the Gleeverse. Everything is acceptable, apparently. Yeah, no, I was like, I just thought about that. I was like, I'm sure Glee has to pay for all the music rights they use to do their own covers. So, like, and that's a Van Halen song, I'm pretty sure. So, like, that's a hearty chunk. Anyway.
A hearty chunk.
Chunk.
Yeah, Sue does not want any chunks. So she sees the commercial, and then she gets an idea, and we will get to that final scene later on. Meanwhile, let's just touch on the Emma plot. Emma and Ken have planned their wedding the same day as sectionals, so Emma can't go. And Will is talking to her, and he's like, I think Ken did it on purpose because he doesn't like our relationship. And Emma's like, what relationship?
Why are they still friends? Why are they talking? Like, they know there's a thing between them. They know that Ken knows that there's a thing between them. Why does he still go to her office? I don't understand.
She's his only friend.
True.
That is very accurate.
That's sad. Oh my God. I mean, she was still a terrible person, but, like, yeah.
So she calls him out. She's like, what relationship? I'm marrying Ken. I love him. He's a kind and generous man. Which I'm like, is he? But okay.
I don't really
Yeah,
think so.
She literally was like, oh yeah, no, he's not vindictive. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you know he's vindictive because she was just complaining 3 episodes about Ken doing something vindictive for the Glee Club because of your guys' relationship. Like, it was the thong song thing. Like, don't you remember that?
I can't not remember the thong song.
I have gone to therapy to try to forget it.
So, yeah, I really don't think after that plot doesn't really go anywhere, right? It's just kind of that scene.
Is it? I think it might be.
Yeah. And
that's not a plot. Never mind. Scratch everything.
It's important because I don't know why it's important. Really, I don't. I'm trying to think. Like,
we see
I guess it kind of gets into like the Shu Terry plot a little bit.
Yeah.
but not by much.
We see that each teacher in the School of McKinley gets a full color page dedicated to them. And I'm like, I feel like that's not a thing.
No, they get tiny squares across one page, maybe two, depending on how big your school is, maybe three.
Yeah, so they get these huge, we're going to hear you playing with that in the microphone, Alyssa.
Probably.
She's just playing with the picture.
I like to have things to do with my hands. I can't just sit and talk. It's against my morals.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a thing. Let's get to the Quinn plot because I want to save a certain plot for last. Quinn wants to belong. She wants to be a cheerleader. She wants to be back on the cheerleading team. She puts on her uniform and she's like, it still fits. It just looks like I had a big lunch, which is the third time Quinn has said that on this show. And Sue is like, it's disgusting. It's like a porn star in a nun's habit. And then Quinn is like, no, you're going to let me be in the Cheerios. You're going to like have a full, like you're going to put me in because when Sue disqualifies the Glee Club for getting mattresses, we're going to get to that whole plot, but like they get paid by mattresses during the mattress commercial, and Sue gets taken to disqualify them because it's against the guidebook for them to get paid because then they're no longer amateurs. And Quinn's like, you're such a hypocrite. We're drowning in free swag. They get season tickets to Cedar Point. Jealous.
Which is so Midwest.
So Midwest.
I bet people in like other states had to be like, what's Cedar Point?
And we're all like
look it up. They're like, yeah, Cedar Point.
Yeah, so Quinn is like, blackmails her to be like, you're going to put me in the Cheerios photo and you're going to give Glee one of Cheerios, the cheerleaders, like 6 pages. And they're going to do a full picture with everyone in it. Because now suddenly Quinn wants Glee to have a page. And
she finally belongs, ?
Yeah.
I guess like it took her, I mean, no one's saying a heartfelt song to her this episode, so I don't know where she's getting the fact that she thinks she belongs in Glee. I don't get it. It's kind of disconnected.
But she's like, then she decides she doesn't want to. Sue's like, oh, you remind me of a young Sue Sylvester. And then Quinn's like, I don't want to be part of the Cheerios. No thanks. I want to be part of Glee Club because I feel like I belong. Mm-hmm. And, they have sang like multiple songs. They did sing Lean on Me and Keep Holding On to Her. So like
2 episodes ago, like it's just now hitting her. She's like, oh my God, they like me. And they're like, yeah. They sang 2 songs to you. Yeah. I honestly loved that Quinn-Sue showdown because literally, like, I was like, oh my God, wait, Quinn gets back on the Cheerios? I don't remember this. And then it ends on her being like, you know what? Never mind. And I was like, holy shit, she just, like, fucked Sue over just for the sheer power of it. And I was like, that's delicious. I love that.
So I love when they use, like, Quinn's tenacity for good.
Yeah.
Like they play up like having, if you're friends with kind of like the mean girl, that like she could use that to help you.
Yeah.
And it's nice because Sue, like, she was so loyal to Sue, and Sue like dumped her in the dirt, so it's nice to see her like get one over on Sue.
Yeah. The other thing related to like Quinn, she's like in the library looking at, I guess, last year's what's it called? The Thunderclap?
Yeah, the McKinley Thunderclap.
I hate that. But anyway, she's like looking at it and she has a voiceover, right? So she's like thinking about wanting to belong. So it's either that or where Rachel's in the library that they pass by a couple Mac computers in the library. And I'm like, if this school is so goddamn poor, why does everybody have a Mac fucking computer in this library? And it was just, I have written about Macs for like the past 5 episodes at least. And I just like haven't really talked about it. But there are so many Mac computers in this show. I'm like, I thought everybody was poor. I'm confused.
Everyone has a Mac. The teachers get full color pages to themselves.
But Glee Club has to pay $300 for a quarter of a page that's probably in black and white.
Figgins is probably embezzling or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah, our favorite principal. So we're gonna get to the final plot where Will is looking for his pocket square for his picture, and he looks in Terry's lingerie drawer, and he finds her pregnancy pad.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Terry, what is this? And she's like, oh, it's just like to try on the maternity clothes. And he's like, lift up your shirt.
That was honestly really scary. Like the way
He was scary.
He was confronting her. Like he saw the pregnancy pad and then like some more mirror acting, a lot of face journeys. And he's like putting it together in his head, but very confident, being like, oh my God, this all makes sense. And I'm like, that doesn't feel like Shu. Like Shu would be like, what is this? And then she would say like, oh, it's the pregnancy pad. And they'd be like, oh, well, like, why do you need it now? Like he would start to ask questions. Like, I don't think he would confront her like that. And like, I was very uncomfy.
It was scary. She was like backing away and he was yelling at her, and yeah. Oh, this is an important scene that I forgot to mention from last episode. Oops. Quinn, when she decides, when Puck is a jerk to her and she's like, oh, I need to give up my baby to Terry. She's like, a girl needs a good dad, which that's its own American gender nightmare to unpack. But a child having a good dad is a good thing, right? So like, I get that.
A child having good parents.
And she had a bad dad. So like, you get why Quinn's like, oh, I want someone to have a good dad. And then she sees Will and she says goodbye and she hugs him. And it's like, if I didn't totally hate Will and everything about him, this would actually be a really sweet scene.
Yeah.
Like, if I could believe he was a surrogate father figure to Quinn, where she's like, oh, like, you would be a good dad.
Yeah, to her and to Finn in this situation for sure.
Yeah.
He's and just then, like a creepy uncle to everybody. Yeah. He's just there in everybody's business, telling them to do stuff they don't want to do.
Telling them to don wigs. And talking about his old high school car that he eventually sells for a really gross minivan.
It's a terrible minivan.
Yeah, it's real bad. Anyway.
So back to the episode at hand. So the big reveal is out, and then he starts chasing Terry through the forest, and a giant rock falls onto Terry and crushes her, and that's the end of Terry.
Lies!
Finally!
Lies!
Done!
That did not happen.
This is the episode where Terry finally gets crushed with a rock. How do you feel, Alyssa?
Lies. I feel betrayed. You said she was going to die and she did not.
That's amazing. Honestly, though, like, I feel like that whole sequence, again, it was more of that crying, almost sneezing face from Will Schuester. But, like, he was really aggressive, and she immediately became very passive and very scared. And I actually felt very much for her, because I was actually scared. Even though I knew that, like, nothing was going to happen, I was still, like, freaked out. I was like, wait, does this get worse than I remember? But then, like, she just, like, lets him leave and closes the door. Like, does she realize that she really fucked up? Or, like, is that just, like, a really quick character shift? Because I feel like she would have run after him and, like, chased him to wherever he was going.
I don't know. I don't agree with that, because I think Terry is, how do I put this? She would do anything to survive, and going after Will at that moment is not conducive for her survival.
True.
Or the survival of their marriage, which is maybe more accurate.
It's just, there's literally, and doesn't he talks to Emma, right? after this.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, she like assumes that they're gonna get divorced. And he was like, why would you assume that? And I'm thinking,
not gonna lie.
For you listeners, I just tilted my head ever so slightly, almost cracking it, because I'm very confused. Like, what do you mean, Shu? Like, you literally found out that she faked a pregnancy for at least 5 or 6 months.
I assumed that he was gonna get a divorce, and then he was like, wait, why do you assume that? And I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's like of course she has every right to assume that you're gonna get divorced because your wife literally was faking a pregnancy. Like, that's fucking insane.
Not only was faking a pregnancy, showed him a DVD of his student's child and was going to take his student's child and pass it off as her own.
And
I
also,
don't know if you can bring any of those like issues up as a charge. Can you convict her of any of that? Like,
I don't.
It seems like maybe an appropriate course of action.
Honestly, like, I mean, something like that, like, you could get like a real good divorce settlement out of, but like, but no, like, he also knows that she's super manipulative, and of course, like, he's just like in his own feelings.
Yeah.
But like, at some point, and I don't remember, but like at some point, I would think that he would think that like, my wife must have been manipulating Quinn because she manipulated me. Like, what has she been telling this girl, like my student? So like, I don't remember if that even becomes a thing, but like, I hope that gets addressed because like, he knows how manipulative she is, and he's aware enough about things that he might actually try to confront that. So
well, I feel like the interesting thing about their relationship, and maybe not interesting, is it not a good word, maybe more like sad thing about their relationship is Terry is an abusive partner, which we don't typically like to like acknowledge, but she is. She follows all of the guidelines for being an abusive partner. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that Will is like, why would you assume that we're getting a divorce, actually falls right in line with that sort of dynamic. Is that it's what I want to say on average it takes 7 tries for someone to successfully leave an abusive relationship. So I guess it's not that strange for him to react that way.
Yeah, I guess that's so rooted in reality that I'm like, what are you talking about, Glee? Yeah, no, that's actually a really good point. And like, she even admits, she doesn't admit to being abusive, but she's literally like, our marriage works because you don't feel good about yourself. And it's like, that's not good.
That's emotionally abusive.
Yeah, like that's like emotional abuse. And then saying that is also abusive. So it's like, gross cycle. Yeah. Nah, fuck her.
Yeah, she's like, remember how much we loved each other? It's like when you were actively deceiving me.
Yeah, but yeah.
There was one thing about the scene with Emma and Will that I just like really didn't understand, is where she's like, oh, I had just assumed that you were going to get a divorce, but I actually know where Terry's coming from. And I was like, what? That took a 180.
She's like, yeah, like if I would do anything to not lose you.
Yeah, it was real weird.
That I was like, wait, what? Yeah,
I felt uncomfy by that. I was like, I thought, Emma, you were a better person than Terry. Maybe not.
No, this is Glee. Nobody is good or better. Everyone is terrible except Finn, who sets high and low expectations at all times. Yeah, no, that's gross. Also, is like another, like, she's clearly like in self-denial about her feelings for Will by still going through with this marriage to Ken. And so like all of the stuff she was saying earlier about like Ken being wonderful and I love him, it's like, that's not a friend thing you're saying to Will right now. Like, you're saying a like romantic thing.
Yeah.
It's very inappropriate.
If Glee is anything, it's appropriate.
Yeah, they are very tactful and tasteful. It's great.
Yeah, so yeah, he leaves, And instead of like going to a motel or a friend, he has none. So he goes to the school, he sees the mattresses, and unquestioningly rips one open, like rips the plastic casing off of one and sleeps on it.
So at this point, he does not know that they did the commercial, right?
Nope, he does not know.
He reads a note that is attached to the mattresses, right? Like something. Yeah. And then you're right, he just opens a fucking mattress.
I'm like, there's got to be a cheap Super 8 motel, man. Like,
what if he showed up at Finn's house and then he was also living there with Finn, Quinn, and Finn's mom?
But they're not ever going to have any conversations at the house. It's always going to be at the school.
He just shows up in the basement, like his mom's doing laundry again. And Finn's like, hey, Mom, can Mr. Shoes stay the night?
I'm his best friend and I'm 16 years old.
And then Finn's mom
a child.
You can stay as long as you need.
You need any denim on denim outfits? I've got plenty.
I want you to remember this joke about Finn being Will's best friend. I want you to remember this because this will come into play later.
Oh no. Oh, uncomfy. Oh God.
This series is gold. Glee has no flaws.
Glee is perfect in every way. Constantly pushing boundaries in the best ways.
So to wrap it all up, Sue gets them disqualified because they're paid by the mattresses, and Will's like, we'll return them. And Figgins is like, you slept on one, you can't return it. And so then he decides,
which is not actually a rule for mattresses.
I thought it was. No, I think that's actually a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never actually bought a mattress, but I always just assumed you could return them.
No. I think like after you return them, like if you like return it to a store, like there may be some people that take them, but they take them and destroy them. Like they can't like regift them.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well,
like
then you could still return it.
Well, you like basically take it away to the garbage. Like a moving company may come to get it, but they just dump it. Like they can't resell it. They can't even donate it. But yeah, so like
they just dropped a pile of mattresses off in the Glee Club room.
Yeah.
It's also so weird. Like, okay, one, who let that person in the building? It was like, yeah, I got a stack of mattresses here for the Glee Club for nude erections. Nude erections. And Figgins is like, oh yeah, no, right down the hall, you'll see the piano, just leave it in that room. Like, what? No. I don't understand the show.
Who is going to get the mattresses?
I bet you.
How are they going to divvy them up?
They were going, well, what if there was one for each of them, right?
There were 7.
7? How many people in the Glee Club?
More than 7.
12, right?
They get to pair up, and each pair gets to sleep together on a mattress.
Oh God, that's gonna be a nightmare. So Sue does have like a really great line though when she's like confronting Shu. He's like, I opened them accidentally. And she's like, what if I were to accidentally murder you? And I was like, I love you, Sue.
And then he's like...
she was like, it'd be justifiable homicide, probably.
He's like, he's too busy. He doesn't know what his own Glee Club is doing. He's too busy chasing tail and loading his hair with product.
And then she's like, it looks like you put in lard. And I was going to be like, well, I mean, he probably didn't take a shower last night because he slept in the school.
He's like, are you in the redheads? She's like, are you in the redhead so depraved that you have to keep a mattress around?
In between classes.
And she's like, well, can you just throw it in the, like, the dumpster out back filled with empty hair gel bottles?
She's quality.
And because he's like, I slept here. I'm thinking of leaving my wife. And she's like,
didn't see that coming. Yeah.
So they get disqualified, but Will finds a loophole that he's the one who took the mattresses, so he just can't go to sectionals. And they'll have to go without him. and then they pose for their picture in the yearbook while they get ready and stuff, and they sing Charlie Chaplin's Smile.
Super depressing Smile song.
And that's the end of the episode. That was Mattress, baby.
Baby. I also cannot believe
episode of Glee. No, it's not.
I also just cannot believe it's called Mattress. I'm just still upset about that.
They're like, oh, what are we gonna call this episode? What's in it? Mattresses?
Well, we could call it the Thunderclap. Nah, that's stupid. Let's be more direct.
Let's take it in a new direction.
Okay. Also, I mean, I know these are like teenagers supposedly, but they write no directions in like while they're doing that montage of them getting ready. There's like a shot of Karofsky and the other football players like defacing one of the yearbooks, which I'm surprised at how quickly it got printed. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Doesn't it take like months?
Yeah.
Anyhow, but like they're defacing it and they write no directions, and I was like, no, you wanted to write nude erections. Just go for it.
I was gonna make a joke about Karofsky in that, but
no, not yet. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it's Tina time. Tina time.
Oh my goodness. I counted Tina's lines. She gets.
It took you forever.
Oh my, I literally rewound.
You're a saint.
It was 3 lines. Dun dun dun. In only 1 episode.
Did she say anything in Hairography?
She did not. She got her solo, but she did not say anything.
She sang True Colors. Her lines were, "You with the sad eyes, don't be unhappy."
I think I wrote down one of the things that I heard her say after like, what's the commercial? You can hear her say awesome in the background.
Yep. I counted
like,
that as a line.
I was like, that counts, right?
Yeah.
I actually wrote that. I was like, I heard her go awesome. And I was like, that's Tina. That's my girl.
Well, because they're like, it's for mattresses. And they're all like, that's so cool. And I'm like, what?
Is it? I guess like, what's the alternative? Like fertilizer? I don't know. It's like
I love local fertilizer commercials.
They're the shit. Nailed it. This sucks.
So, what was our favorite song of these 2 episodes? I know everyone's gonna say Hair / Crazy in Love.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what yours is, Hannah?
I do. Again, I couldn't figure out a number that I even really liked. And so my first one was Bootylicious because I love Destiny's Child. So Bootylicious and all that whipping hair. And what was that girl's name?
Aphasia.
Aphasia. Yeah, like Aphasia's name is in it and she's singing because that's where they keep the money. I was like, I love it. Emmy-worthy performance.
Alyssa?
Imagine.
Did you only pick that because I hated it?
I did not, but I'm standing by it because you hated it.
Mine is True Colors, sung by the one and only Tina Cohen Chang. Tony Award winner Jen Uskowitz.
Honestly, so good. So underused. Her voice is so pretty.
That's
I did really like her voice in that song.
That's the only song in these 2 episodes that made it to my guilty pleasure playlist with Glee songs.
They're all from Hairology, right?
Yeah, what songs? They sang Jump in Mattress and Smile.
That's the only one I remember.
And Smile. They sang 2 Smile.
Yeah.
And what else? I don't even remember. That's how like uneventful that episode was.
Boring.
There really no songs about yearbooks.
Take a look. It's in the yearbook. Reading Rainbow. What was your
worst
least favorite song?
I put the smile with Rachel and Finn. I wrote AKA so pointless. Because they
Alyssa?
had to like specify which smile song, and I was like, this is fucking bananas.
I'm gonna go with that one also, but not because it was pointless, because I was like really put off by the fact she was trying to make Finn happy enough to smile, and I was listening to the lyrics and it does not match. And it was real weird.
When I see you cry, it makes me smile.
Yes!
Yeah, it's like
It's psychotic.
Did anyone listen to the lyrics, or was Ryan Murphy like, I love Lily Allen, we should use this song, it's about smiles?
I love
Ryan Murphy.
Your Ryan Murphy sounds like Donald Trump.
Sorry.
We should use this song. That's a terrible Donald Trump.
I was like, wow, have you ever heard Donald Trump, the president of our country? No, I actually don't know what Ryan Murphy sounds like. I don't think I've ever heard him speak. So, you know what? I'm gonna make an effort to watch more interviews with him and do a more appreciative. Words are hard. Thank you.
I'm gonna give a dime to whoever can guess what my least favorite song in these 2 episodes was.
Is it gonna be Imagine?
Yes.
Obviously. Cool, I get a dime. Give it to me. I'm right here.
I just pressed the dime against my laptop screen. Should I Venmo you 10 cents?
Oh my god. Yes, please. That's great.
All right, I'll do that.
Thanks.
I'll make sure it's public so
you're
everyone
a man
can
of your
know.
Word.
So this one is actually really hard this week. Should we start with our least valuable player?
Sure. I found my MVP to be really easy, but my LVP, I just picked someone that like I don't ever really talk about. I picked Coach Ken because he's being a brat, but like I also understand, but also like I don't know. Everyone was kind of garbage.
Yeah, it was a rough week.
Yeah.
I like texted you guys. I was like, I'm so excited to only be watching 2 episodes instead of 4 like we did last time. And then we had to do that twice. Yeah. And then we're talking about it. I'm like, I'm exhausted at how boring and how much I hated these episodes. It was rough.
I think I'm going to give my least valuable. I'm going to give it to Kurt because he's not usually going to get it. So this is my one time to be like, Kurt, you sucked today.
Mm-hmm.
That's really mean and manipulative.
For sure. I can second that. That's a good one.
Because otherwise I just like give it to Will every week and like,
I know.
It's boring.
Will or Terry.
I'm going to actually give it to Emma because she was written so out of character, in my opinion, when she was talking about Terry. Very, very out of character for her, and I did not like it. So Emma gets my vote.
I would second both of those. I think those are also good choices. MVP?
Who's our MVP? You knew Hannah. Who were you gonna go with?
Quinn. I loved Quinn. Like I even liked her in Hairography, where she was like trying to figure out if she wanted to keep her baby. Like she was being active, which doesn't happen a lot for Quinn. Like she's actually getting to be active in trying to make a choice, trying to make something happen. And then she got to do this like really awesome scene with Sue to like blackmail her and then like stick it to her, be like, you know what? No, I don't want to be in your club. I want to be in my group. And it was really great. I appreciated that.
Alyssa?
I don't want to go yet. You go.
So this was, I like literally was hoping we'd record the episode and I'd find out.
You want to discover it along the way.
Yeah, I might second Quinn. Here's the thing. So there were like 2 scenes that at first Finn was all like, it's bad, I shouldn't have been here. I led you on by showing up to your house, Rachel. And then he ditched her at the yearbook thing. And I was like, mad at you, Finn. Mm-hmm. And then I liked the scene where Rachel was like, I can do this, and she like smiled by herself for the yearbook photo, like that resilience I really liked. So I was gonna go with Rachel, but I did really like the Quinn scene when she told Sue off, and like I did think she had really good emotional beats. So I'm gonna be a follower, and I'm gonna say Quinn.
Yay.
I want you all to know that I never have these picked beforehand. So when Cullen's like, oh yeah, I was hoping I'd figure out during the episode, that's me every week. So I am also gonna go with Quinn. I've been like racking my brain trying to figure out who might have had a better like character arc or anything. Like,
right.
Nope, nothing. It's Quinn all the way.
Yeah, like she had some really interesting stuff, but like if she was up against like other people doing other stuff, she probably wouldn't have won because like she always gets left behind. So she did some good stuff this week and I'm proud of her.
Good for good old Quinny.
Yay.
Oh, Quinny.
Do we have any Gleeboot questions? Like, how would we reboot these episodes? Would you include an amateur commercial in your Gleeboot?
I kind of liked it just like as an idea. And I think because the reason why Rachel wanted to do it, one of the reasons was because she wanted to unite them with something, and she really wanted them to like be a part of something and be a group, and to not really save face for the community, but like to show that like they're really cool. Like they're cool because they're having fun doing what they want to do and they want to feel appreciated. So I think if it's something like that they use it for like unity, or not as like a plot device, because we didn't really talk about how it was a twist, but it was a reveal. Like it wasn't earned. It was something like, oh, guess what? You actually can't do this commercial, and like it didn't really get anything good come out of it, really, because you could have got disqualified, right?
Yeah.
So like, as long as it's not used as a plot device, I think it could be a fun thing, as long as they also don't do jump again. Ugh. And no more mattresses.
Yeah, I like that element of a commercial. What do you think, Alyssa?
Oh, I'd totally do it again. In fact, I would get rid of the entire yearbook plotline.
Yes.
And I would kind of mush them together. So a little bit of what you're saying, Hannah, but I would want to make it a little bit more modern. So the commercial is the thing that they're actually afraid of getting on YouTube and like making them seem like, you know, like super unpopular, because local commercials are notoriously terrible.
Yeah.
So I would kind of want to go in that direction, where the local commercial actually takes the place of what they're afraid of doing, and then at the end becomes the thing that unifies them.
I like that a lot.
I like that too. I really like that. That's a really good idea.
Oh, thanks.
So we'll include that in our boot.
Notes.
My question, because I came prepared this week. I'm so proud of myself because I almost forgot. My question was actually, so like I kind of been struggling with the fact that they're like, oh, like we're gonna practice this number for sectionals, and then I'm like, you're definitely not gonna use that number. Like you're just doing it for a song in this episode. So my question is kind of like, do we actually need more of the Glee Club actively working towards sectionals, things like practicing and stuff like that? Or is this sort of mundane everyday stuff supposed to take priority like it does now? Like, yeah.
That's hard.
That is a hard one.
Because as it stands right now, Glee never has to practice because they always randomly break into song amazingly anyway. So it kind of doesn't fit with the world that is Glee currently.
I think if I were in charge of this is something I'd want to like have a long discussion with whoever my writing staff was or whatever. But the way I would go with it now is kind of like I would have them practicing more, and have less of the songs be performances and more like musical numbers in like a musical theater sense. So we can have all those fun times where they break into song, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what's literally happening. Kind of like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is a musical show, and they do that where like there's all these songs and they're very much part of the story, but they're kind of fantasies in her head, but it's not emphasized like too much to the point where it's like you don't care, but like they use the music to tell the story, but they can still have fun musical numbers and like also have diegetic, like people trying to figure out how to sing.
Okay. Yeah. I just, when we were seeing like the diva off and watching Kurt actually practice, like prepare for that, I was like, oh my God, realism. I love it.
That was a cool scene.
It was.
Yeah.
So my question was, I need to give you a little background. So when I was watching the terrible smile song between Rachel and Finn, I was actually so put off by it that I literally started watching everything else in that scene except for them. And I noticed that they will like linger on the people who play instruments, especially the piano guy and
Brad.
What, he has a name?
Brad the piano guy, yeah.
Oh my God. So
he's
my question
creators
was
of the show, right?
Okay.
Like, or he's like with a music director, I think.
Yeah.
Interesting. My question is, if you were writing this, would you include some of those extraneous instrumental people as actual characters?
That's a really good question. And honestly, I think I would, because this is the yearbook episode, right?
Yeah.
The Thunderclap. And I was kind of like, well, those people, why the fuck are they here? Like, what band are they? Like, are they in band? Are they jazz band? Like, are these strangers they pulled off the street?
Exactly.
So no, I
so many questions.
Really, like, I want to see mingling between band and Glee. Like, how do those groups interact? That could actually be kind of cool. But no, yeah, I would definitely want to know who these musicians are that are helping them out.
I think it's cool. I think the reason they didn't do it, and this would be my fear, is that Glee's problem has often been a lot of characters. And like that's just like more characters.
You're gonna meet so many people, Alyssa. You're gonna hate them all.
You're gonna miss the days where it's like, here's a Rachel and Finn plot, and maybe Kurt or Quinn will do something.
Yeah.
All right, so that was our time for Hairography Mattress. I'm really excited about our next episode because we're going to talk about sectionals.
Oh
boy.
We're finally getting to sectionals.
How many episodes are left?
In season 1?
Yeah.
We just finished episode 12.
I think it's a full like 22, 23.
It's a
but
22.
This is about the end of the DVD that I own, which is the first half of the first season. So. Yeah,
we're halfway. We have 10. We're over halfway through. We have, if it's 22 episodes, we have 10 episodes left, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Ugh, my IMDb reset. Elevator music.
These were the first 13 episodes that were filmed. Like they were filmed before the show was airing, so they were filmed without any feedback. And then the next 7 or so, or 10, or what? Not after 13. 7, 9. The back 9 are like after feedback. So after Glee had become a huge phenomenon.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's funny. I totally forgot that was, you said like without feedback, and I was like, yeah, if they'd gotten feedback.
Yeah, so 9 and so next week we're gonna like see the last of the pre-feedback episodes and the first of the post-feedback episodes.
Things definitely change.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited.
No, I'm excited. It's actually there's some fun episodes.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Do you want to plug our social media, Hannah?
Oh my God, I would love to. Thank you for doing that awesome segue. So we are on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr, and they're all at Gleeboot Pod. So you can check us out there. by the time this airs, hopefully we've got stuff up there and we're a bit more active. So yeah, you can check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. Yay!
Thanks for listening.
Catch us wherever you get your podcasts, including the podcast app, which we're on now. What?
Are we on Stitcher? Is that a thing yet?
I think we're on Stitcher.
I love Stitcher.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no preference.
Yeah, and we're on Spotify and SoundCloud and all that jazz. So check us out. Please leave a review on iTunes. Share it with your friends, because word of mouth is how we can grow our audience and get more people thinking about the pop culture phenomenon that was Glee.
And still is. No, I love it. It's fine. All right.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.